All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, it has been a while since I've last made a video. I believe the last video I've made was the Saints-Bucks recap, which was on Sunday. So yeah, it's definitely been a couple days since then. I've been busy during that time. You know how life is. But hey, I'm here today to talk about some things. Now, I know I definitely have missed some things related to the Ravens, and we're going to get on that. We're going to have a lot of discussions about the Ravens because we are in the offseason, and we do know there is a lot of changes that need to be made for the Ravens. We're going to talk about this offense, what needs to be added, what needs to be fixed, coaching staff specifically, Greg Roman, which is the big topic for the Ravens fan base right now. We're going to talk about that whole Greg Roman situation, and as well as Lamar Jackson in terms of what he needs to do moving forward and what the franchise needs to do for him and all this other stuff. We'll definitely get into that. Also, there were a couple players that were waived over the last 2 days, and I will talk about those two specific players. But right now, I want to focus on a specific player that is not a Raven. And that is my man, Phillip Rivers. Another OG from the 2000s era. Another quarterback I grew up watching. Phillip Rivers, after 17 long seasons, has finally hanged up the cleats and announced his retirement. Man, I'm going to miss him. I'm definitely going to miss him. He's top 5 in career passing touchdowns, passing yards, and completions. He's an 8-time Pro Bowler and has never missed a start in the NFL. I believe he's had 252 starts. He's one of the toughest quarterbacks to ever play this game. And he has one of the gutsiest performances in the history of the NFL, where he chose to play in an AFC Championship game with a torn ACL. That was a 2007 AFC Championship game where he was going up against Tom Brady and the undefeated Patriots. He played on the torn ACL and did everything in his power to help his team win. I still believe to this day, had he and LT been healthy, they're beating that Patriot squad, and I will stick to that story. Even though they were 13-3, I believe they could have beaten that Patriot squad, and a lot of people believe they could have beaten that Patriot squad and gotten into the Super Bowl. In fact, I believe today is the 13-year anniversary of that game, so it's kind of funny. 13 years after Phillip Rivers plays in his in his only AFC Championship game appearance. I don't believe he made it. Yeah, I believe it's his only AFC Championship game appearance. So 13 years after that, Phillip Rivers hangs up the cleats. And he's had a very interesting career. He's part of the, luxurious 04 draft with him and Eli and Big Ben Roethlisberger. And obviously Larry Fitzgerald, but that's a different situation. So, yeah, he's part of that main trio. And he's finally hanging up his cleats. We know Eli retired a couple years back. And now it's just time for Phillip Rivers to head out too. I'm sure at the end of next season, Ben Roethlisberger will be heading out himself, but he's coming back for next season. The amount of money he's going to get to play next season, I believe he's going to show up. Plus, I don't know what other quarterback the Steelers are going to put in, so Ben's definitely coming back for at least one more year. So we'll see him next year, and then after that, he'll probably hang up his cleats as well. But yeah, Phillip joining Eli in retirement. Ben Roethlisberger will be there soon. Man, all the quarterbacks I grew up watching are just pretty much gone. Who is left? Alex Smith is holding on as much as possible. Aaron Rodgers is still around. He's probably going to be around for a while. Tom Brady, we know him. He's just getting ready to head out himself. And we know Drew Brees is getting ready to retire himself. I don't think he's officially announced his retirement yet. Once he does that, we'll discuss him as well. But yeah, a lot of quarterbacks from just my era, my childhood they're retiring, okay? We got a lot of young bucks here coming in, and it's very interesting, It's very interesting to see this young talent come in, but a lot of guys I grew up watching are just getting ready to leave the league. And the funny thing is Tom Brady's probably going to outman all of them. His career is going to outlive all of them. He's still going to be here at like 46, 47, still playing football because that's just Tom Brady. But yeah, Phillip Rivers finally heading off to the sunset. Now, of course, people are going to ask the question of whether or not Phillip Rivers deserves to be a Hall of Famer. I don't know if you can put him first ballot. I don't think he has a case for first ballot. Like with Eli and Ben Roethlisberger, first of all, Ben Roethlisberger, no question, has a solid case. He's probably going to at least be first ballot Hall of Famer. I believe out of the three, Ben Roethlisberger is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But for Eli, that is a question as to whether or not he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he still has those 2 Super Bowl rings. But when you look at his career closely, how much can you really give credit for if you take away those 2 Super Bowl seasons and you look at the quarterback like that? Could you consider that a Hall of Fame quarterback? That is the question. I believe he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I just don't see it first ballot. It'll take some time. And of course, we know Ben Roethlisberger himself. He also won 2 Super Bowl championships. That kind of leaves Phillip Rivers the odd man out. Phillip Rivers has 0 rings. Unlike Eli and Ben, Phillip Rivers has never been to a Super Bowl. He's only been to the one AFC Championship game. He's won a lot of wild card playoff games, but he's never gotten to the AFC Championship game after 2007. And that is a shame. You know, he had a lot of great seasons. They've had a lot of great opportunities, and they just never could get over the hump. He would always be in the wild card round, winning those games. They would just never be able to win in the divisional round. And it is unfortunate. But this is, Phillip Rivers' career. He's gotten to one AFC Championship game. That's all that there is to talk about him regarding to the postseason. He's won playoff games in the wild card round, but other than that, he's never gotten to a Super Bowl. When you compare him to his other, quarterbacks in his draft, at least for the first round, they have a combined 4 Super Bowls. Now, granted, none of these quarterbacks won an MVP, but at least the other 2 can cling to their 2 Super Bowl rings. It's very difficult for Phillip Rivers because he's won no MVP. He's never been to a Super Bowl. He's got no rings. How much can you really assess him and say, that's a Hall of Famer? And with the way they got this criteria nowadays, it's very difficult to sit back and be like, he's a Hall of Famer here, he's a Hall of Famer there. I don't know how much you can really give him credit for being a Hall of Famer. But at the end of the day, when you look at his numbers, I'm just saying statistic-wise, I believe he can still make the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, he never won an MVP, never got to a Super Bowl or anything like that. But I believe you could still put Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame. And I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame when you look at his career as a whole. I mean, it's got to speak volumes for the fact that this guy never missed a start in his entire career. And he suffered a lot of injuries. The man played in the AFC Championship game on a torn ACL. And like I said, he's top 5 in passing touchdowns, passing yards, and passing completions. That's got to be volumes. That's got to speak volumes for something. Not to mention he's an 8-time Pro Bowler. Speak on this, man. Speak on this. But yeah, I'm definitely going to miss Phillip Rivers. He was definitely a unique guy, definitely a unique quarterback that really didn't take crap from anybody. He kind of played his own game, and unfortunately, his career was always about coming up short. Sometimes he was coming up short himself, but most of the time, it was his team coming up short. If there's anything you could take away from that Bills game we just saw in the wild card round, is that his team always fails to just support him, and they always come up short. Time after time after time after time again, Phillip Rivers' team has failed to deliver, and they've come up short. Of course, I'm not completely saying Phillip Rivers hasn't come up short himself. There's been plenty of time he's come up short, specifically when he's gone up against Tom Brady in the postseason. But at the same time, you look at it, and you're like, yeah, it's the team definitely hurting him. His team definitely being an issue. But, that's just part of being a Charger, It's very tough because, he had a prime LT and he had a prime Antonio Gates, and they were just never able to get over the hump and get to the Super Bowl. And I think that's something that's going to be held against him because you had those 2 weapons on your offense, and you were just never able to get to a Super Bowl with that. And people will always continue to ask the question as to how you will fail to get to the Super Bowl, especially because you had a good team. But again, the Chargers have just always been some sort of issue. I don't know what's with them, but throughout Phillip Rivers' career, there was always a problem there. When Drew Brees was there earlier in his career before he went to, New Orleans, there was just issues there. It's just anybody that was playing quarterback for the Chargers just struggled to get over the hump. And Phillip Rivers was the main guy we saw year after year after year. The team was just failing him. They weren't able to get to where they wanted to. And Phillip Rivers either came up short or the team failed to deliver when they needed to, i.e. his defense giving up a big play at the last second or his kicker not hitting a field goal. That's just been That's been Phillip Rivers' career the entire time. In some cases, that's been Drew Brees' career in New Orleans for after the Super Bowl. But that's a different situation. We'll get to Drew when he announces his retirement. But yeah, Phillip Rivers has definitely had an interesting career. It's definitely been fun. It's been fun. But, I think old man Rivers knows it's time to hang up the cleats. He's given everything he has to this game, and he has nothing left. I'm going to miss Phillip Rivers, man. I'm going to definitely miss him. He was definitely one of the more interesting quarterbacks out of his class and basically out of that old 2000s unit that I'm honestly going to miss. Seeing all the quarterbacks I grew up watching just leave the game, that definitely sucks. I don't know how many we really have left, but they're all just disappearing. The quarterbacks I grew up watching are just leaving the game slowly, one by one. And eventually it's just going to be Brady left. And once Brady's gone, it's just the NFL is just not going to look the same. It's just going to be completely different. All these young guys there. And I'm all of a sudden going to start feeling like an old man watching these guys who are older than me, by the way. But I'm going to feel like just like an old man because I grew up watching these guys who were so young in their career, and now they're all old men and they're retiring, and I got to see their entire career, so I appreciate them. And one person I always appreciated watching was Phillip Rivers. Unfortunately, he never got to the Super Bowl and won an MVP, and that's kind of just the saying of his career. Now, at the end of the day, will he be a Hall of Famer? We'll find out, but I believe he will be in Canton one day. We'll see. With that being said, farewell to Phillip Rivers. You had quite the impressive career, and we will certainly miss you. With that being said, that is all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace out once again.